Yo, what's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by My Song Day Rock 2000 to today. Guys, this is our first podcast episode of the year 2020. It is also our 50th, and count them, that's 50 podcast episodes ever. So this is a big deal because we're at that big 5-0. We are now over the hill when it comes to podcast episodes. Oh my God, I just make an old joke? Yeah, I did. And as you can tell here from me today, it is Funky Winter Hat Day if you're watching the video, because I've got some like winter hat, and I think I got when I was like 13 years old or something. Sometime back in like 2008. Something like that, you know, just because, well, who doesn't like a funky winter hat? As well, say funky, woo! Alrighty, so I've got quite the number of topics to discuss today. No, actually, I do have some new music to talk about, so we'll go into that right now. But first, we'll go into the shameless plugs. So, of course, you guys know, for those of you who have been here, the shameless plug section is the section where if we had advertising, which, I mean, now I'm working on a lot more because, hey, look at us. We are in 2020, so we're going to be working on that a lot more. I'm looking forward to that as well because, hell yeah, why not? Let's get some more moolah rolling in here. But for right now, we're just going to promote ourselves, or myself, I should say. So for the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 Day Project, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Anytime anything gets released, I'm talking about any kind of song of the day, feature, podcast episode, YouTube video, special video, anything. You're going to find it on Facebook, so don't worry about that. Twitter, again, you're going to get the song of the day 30-second preview posts like you will on Facebook, but then you can also talk to us because, well, Twitter, that's what the conversation is for. Again, if you hear that, like, that's my computer trying to really run a bunch of random stuff at the same time. So please don't worry about that. And then also follow us on Instagram as well, because with Instagram, yeah, you get the 30-second song of the day preview. You also get stuff like the questions we ask every like Monday, Thursday, Friday. The IGTV videos every single Tuesday, where you get a behind the scenes look at what's going on here at My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to today. And also our Instagram live streams every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central, where you can join us on Instagram for 1 hour and, well, talk with us and just have a conversation about music that usually evolves into something completely and utterly different because you guys are the ones driving the conversation. So follow us on TikTok as well, where you just do, wacky videos, which I still got to get back on because I've just been slacking. Like, what was the guy's name from Back to the Future, the principal that always called Marty McFly, and then his dad... Slackers. God, I can't remember his name though. Someone's gonna probably put in the comments somewhere, I hope. Also follow us on, or let's say follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because you're gonna find the podcast episode here on YouTube as well, plus our videos that come out every single Wednesday, sometimes some special Monday ones. And the reason behind that is because, well, that's where we do like all the album reviews, all the questions, all the reactions, all the fun stuff like that. And then if we have like multiple albums to review in one day, yeah, or 1 week, I should say, yeah. That's where the special Monday ones come in. You can kind of check out the year-end awards as well there. Here's the Chord Progression Podcast. You guys can enjoy the Chord Progression Podcast as well. You guys heard the stuff we've done. Talk about music, talking about new music, talk with different bands, and we're going to have some fun with that, as well as like with, we're trying to get more for those in 2020 because those are my favorite ones to do, are the ones where I get to interview bands. Because I always get super jacked up when I get to do those. I mean, I'm like, yeah! Especially because now we get to do with the interview stuff. I mean, I'm trying to get a lot better with the audio, though. Again, it's just going to be a work in progress on my end. I wish I kind of had somebody else on the My Song of the Day team besides myself that could actually do it, because the only person I have that can do that is myself, because I'm the only one here. And then also enable our Amazon Alexa skill, because as you're going to hear the whole entire Song of the Day feature, the small band Saturday features to get in the know with all the smaller bands, enhance your knowledge of rock music, of metal music, enhance your understanding of it, enhance, how many bands rediscover the old ones you like, discover new ones, discover new songs, all that stuff. So links for everything in the description below. And for here at the Chord Progression Podcast, you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. So yeah, we're everywhere. But now let's get on into the show. So there's a couple of things we're going to end up talking about today where I'm just going to give you my full-on take, and I'm not going to hold back. Yeah. And the first thing is regarding Rage Against the Machine. Now, they're coming back. They've already announced it. And on Friday, the 3rd? Yeah, the day all the World War III memes started coming out. I keep laughing at those. We were just looking at all those on July or January 3rd, and it was just hilarious just looking at those because people really came up with those really well. But Rage Against the Machine was announced to headline the Coachella Music Festival both weekends on Friday nights. I'm like, okay, because I believe they have headlined it beforehand before it was the Coachella that it is today. But I believe that's like, yeah, they're going to do it again. And of course, I took a look at the rest of the lineup. I think like Saturday was like Travis Scott as the headliner and Sunday was Frank Ocean as the headliner. And why I find this completely interesting is we knew the fact that Rage Against the Machine was going to be one of the headliners. We knew it. It was also teased that My Chemical Romance could potentially be one of those headliners as well, but that ended up falling through. It's just a rumor. I don't think it was ever really set in stone. I think someone just rumored it, and it was, I think like Loudwire, Kerrang, Alt Press, and kind of everybody else kind of took off like, oh my God, My Chemical Romance could be one of the headliners at Coachella, which I thought was actually pretty cool. But then in the end, not necessarily sure where that would end up going. Who knows? Who cares? But that's just the way it is. And on top of that, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Why I find this interesting is because now their comeback is kind of set in stone and complete to the point where they're playing what would probably be considered the largest music festival for pop music and just for pop culture in the United States. Maybe around the world as well. I'm not entirely sure because, again, Germany with their Rock am Ring and Rock am Park, they're just absolutely bonkers huge. And the music culture over there is much different than it is over here in the United States when it comes to what is highly prevalent within the masses. And I mean, this actually brings up a lot of potential crazy stuff that could potentially happen that the band could pull off. And what I mean by that is the fact is they're going to be at Coachella in 2020. This is going to be April 2020. So we're going to already have, here in the United States, we're going to have the Democratic party going through their nomination process, trying to find out who to nominate to go up against current President Donald Trump. So there's going to be a lot of politicalness going through there right now. And Rage Against the Machine has never shied away from anything political-wise. And I'm like, okay, we're going to see how that comes. We're going to see what they bring out to Coachella. If they're going to bring out like a Donald Trump effigy and they're going to burn it or something. I mean, they very well might. Again, this is Rage Against the Machine. This is their comeback. They're going to try and come back big. And then definitely be something that would be gigantic. And of course, news and noteworthy as well. Because I swear to God, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News would all pick that up. And they would all talk about it like for at least a day or two, I guess, or for however long Coachella goes on. I think like we'll talk about for the first weekend. Then of course it's a 24-hour news cycle. Anything can happen from within there. So there's potential for something crazy like that to happen, or who knows what kind of political stance or protest is going to end up happening from them that they're going to end up maybe igniting. I know for a fact they are going to do something because, again, this is their comeback. They've got to do something big to really set themselves apart from everybody else and not just be like, oh, we just came back because we wanted to play it. No, it's just kind of not their style. They're going to come back big. I mean, take a look at the fact that they got banned from Saturday Night Live because they hung an American flag upside down. So this is something that happens, guys. This is something that happens. And I think that it's definitely going to be something that is going to continue to happen. I hope Rage Against the Machine kind of takes it in full stride because with them coming back, it could easily take that to a whole new level. And I do like the fact that it's going to provide exposure to that kind of punk rock style to a different audience. I said in our 2020 preview video, the first thing I talked about was punk rock and 2020. And I know I spent a lot of time on Anti-Flag on that one. I think my phone just went buzz. Oh my God, I got an email. Screw that email. But what I was going to say was I talked a lot about Anti-Flag when it came to the 2020 video because I knew their album was going to come out on January 17th. I mean, it's still going to. I'm wondering what's going to happen there because they are very overtly left-wing and they don't hold anything back with it, and especially with it being 2020. There being a presidential election going on this year. There's definitely going to be a lot of interest and draw to that kind of an album. So I'm like, that's going to end up increasing punk rock within the masses. Now, this has potential for the same thing as well because you're bringing back a band. Yes, they were prevalent in the 90s, certainly. However, that's going to be a punk rock band headlining the most popular and most like sought after musical festival in the United States when it comes to, if you encompass everybody, if you ask everybody. I was like, I mean, I would say everybody. The majority of people, because especially they're within pop and, more like that hip hop music, it's going to be, oh, it's Coachella. And I'm just like, you know what? That's not my kind of taste, my kind of style. But if you're going to get people that are really into pop and not really into rock at all to go to Coachella, because I'll talk about that in a little bit. But if you're going to if they're going to go there and then they're going to end up being exposed to Rage Against the Machine, especially if they have more left-leaning political views and anti-Trump views, this is definitely something that could really bring up punk rock as a genre as well, because the eyes of pop culture are always on Coachella during those weekends. And if Rage Against the Machine is going to be one of the headliners, the eyes of pop culture are going to be on them for those two specific nights. So I've got a feeling they're going to do something big. So this is going to expose a lot of people to punk rock more so. And then all of a sudden, people that really don't listen are going to start jumping into Rage Against the Machine. Then they're going to try and find bands that really are more punk rock and talk more political than others. So they're going to jump into Anti-Flag. They're going to hope to God jump into bands like Rise Against it as well, and other punk bands I haven't mentioned, like, like Pennywise Against Me. I mean, those are pretty much like the big four I always mention for myself, just because those are the four I absolutely really like to listen to. And then the younger punk bands as well that might actually increase the punk scene overall because of something like this. So I actually do enjoy the move. But if I had a chance, would I actually go to Coachella to go and attend this show? Well, I'm not going because I don't want to go and I don't have the money to go, especially with some other things I want to do, because I don't want to spend all that money to go to Coachella, go to California, go to a music festival where I only want to see one band. I mean, I kind of did that for Riot Fest, but I could always pick and choose because there's always going to be bands I like there. But this one, it's like I know there's only be one band I wanted to see, and that would be Rage Against the Machine. However, there's another big reason why I don't want to go to Coachella, and it's a lot of the difference between the music festivals I like to go to and the music festivals that have become, especially like Coachella. So the music festivals that I really have gone to, I mean, I've gone to Summerfest ever since I was a teenager here in Milwaukee, but that's completely different because they kind of just encompass so many different types of music. I mean, they're not really focusing on like one or two genres or anything like that, or their subgenres. Like with Coachella, it's going to be a lot of what's popular in pop culture. You can get a lot of hip hop and rap. You can get a lot of pop music. When you go to something like, the Danny Wynn Presents festivals, it's going to be rock and metal. Riot Fest, you get metal and punk rock in there. You go to something like Summerfest here in Milwaukee, or Rockfest, Rock USA, stuff like that. I mean, you're going to get rock and metal. But when you go to something like Summerfest is just a hodgepodge. You get stuff like from every walk of life. You get alternative, you get pop, you get hip hop and rap, you get rock, you barely get metal. I mean, I think the only metal band we really had last year was August Burns Red, and that's when we flipped the benches. You guys know that story that I talked about plenty of times. But the biggest reason I wouldn't want to go to Coachella is because Coachella isn't about the music anymore. I mean, back when it first started, when bands like Rage Against the Machine were actually headlining it back in their heyday, that's when it was about the music and about the art. And it was all, like, that was the primary goal of it. And it's still promoted that way, very much so. But the difference is with how the consumer treats it. And by the consumer, I mean the people that are going to this festival. Now, granted, you are going to get a large number of people that are going to these festivals because they want to go and they want to go and see these bands or these artists. Again, totally fair. But this is where the primary concern comes in, because this does happen at plenty other festivals as well. But Coachella is just like the breeding ground for stuff like this. And it's for people to go. It's for people to go and dress in, whatever outfit, if like they're an Instagram influencer that some company paid for them to wear, and just to go, just to say, I'm at Coachella having a blast. This is living my best life kind of thing. And they're going to end up wearing some, whatever outfit some company provides them for them to wear, so they can post, tag the company, and then that's it. And that's pretty much what they're there for. They're just there for the posterity of being there and to take pictures of themselves and to promote whatever clothing brand or whatever other brand they're working with to get people to buy it. Now, I'm gonna say the reason why I still admire the hustle of these people, because if you're gonna end up kind of going out there and you're just gonna say, I'm able to go to a music festival, get paid to go to a large music festival where a lot of people are just clamoring to go for free because some companies pay me to do it, and all I have to do is take a picture of myself in an outfit like once or twice a day, or post once or twice a day that I'm at Coachella. Hell yeah, sign me up, because they earn that. I totally understand that. But what I don't care about Coachella, and it's just because that is kind of what the culture is becoming around it, where it's being there and showing off that you are there. It's becoming less about the music and more about, it's more becoming like a status symbol that you went. And I'm really not a big fan of that because it's kind of, in my opinion, a little disingenuous from the music. Again, like say if I was something like for me where it's say I, had say I was supposed to go to a music festival, some company paid me to go there for free, and I had to wear like certain, like a clothing brand to get them just to post it and tag them and then try and, get people to buy their stuff. Would I do that? It'd be I take it a little bit of a different approach. It would be something where I wouldn't go to a music festival like Coachella. Now, if it was something like, hey, can you wear this, can you like take this to Riot Fest and get a picture of your Riot Fest wearing it? Yeah, sure, why not? But then again, it's my primary focus. My primary focus would be like, okay, I got to get these pictures. However, I'm here for the music mostly. And like, say if it was something like when I went this past year, say they wanted me to, say I had a company that's like, okay, we're going to pay you to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm like, okay, take the pictures. But on Friday, I would have loved to have seen Anti-Flag again in Blink 182. Because I'd have seen Anti-Flag for the twice in the same week. I think Pennywise at the same week too. And I got to see Blink 182. That'd have been awesome. And then Saturday night, like, yeah, I would have done the same thing too. But then again, I mean, I would have like you would have seen me post pictures of or video of me at those shows as well, so you could kind of tell that I wasn't just there trying to promote something. It was like I'm there to actually do what we're going to be doing here and enjoying the music and having a good time. So you would have seen those videos from Rise Against. You'd have seen those videos from Slayer. You'd have seen the videos from Story So Far, Anti-Flag, Pennywise, Blink-182. Hell, you'd have seen the death or the Wall of Death from the Village People even. I mean, how crazy is that? Just a giant Wall of Death mosh pit at the Village People. You would have seen that because I would have totally been a part of that. You kidding me? So I get it I get it when you're trying to put business into it as well. I totally understand that. However, it's something where what I don't like about Coachella is just because the culture has become trying to get people to pay you to go there so you can post stuff. Say you're at Coachella and then not really care. Or just like camp out and just do nothing. I mean, then again, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But for me personally, that's just why I wouldn't want to go to Coachella. Again, this is all my opinion based when it comes to why I don't want to go. But again, if it was something like, was in the same position, like, hey, we're going to pay you to wear, a t-shirt, just take a couple of pictures and post on a t-shirt with you at Riot Fest. Yeah, sure. I'd do it if I liked it. If it was something cool and I wanted to promote, yeah, I would do it. But then you would see me, in the mosh pit for Rise Against or crowd surfing or something like that. I still got to crowd surf one of these days, but you'd see me in the mosh, you'd see me, bouncing around in there, just, getting knocked over by people, knocking over people at the same time as well, having a great time. Well, but then again, at that time for Rise Against, I'd definitely be wearing a Rise Against t-shirt. You guys know I would be doing that. When those certain bands would go on, yeah, I would definitely be wearing what I was planning on wearing for that show at that point. So, if it was like Ice Nine Kills, I'd probably have on the Scream shirt or I want to go through the Mary Xmas one because the Mary Xmas one is white. Or one of like the, the Disney mess around ones, where they kind of had the whole entire Disney line where it's like, yeah, Mickey as Freddy Krueger, Goofy as Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then Donald Duck as little Georgie right about to be eaten by Pennywise the Clown. So I would totally go off on that kind of stuff like that because I think it would be fun. Like, I still would wear that stuff because that's what I want to do. However, I do understand the fact that, it's a business, you gotta hustle, but if you're gonna go, go to enjoy the music first, business second kind of thing, because it's an experience. You're seeing your favorite bands, you're connecting to them. I mean, come on, just enjoy the music too. Talking about Ice Nine Kills as well, one thing I saw from them was they were talking, I believe this was on Thursday the 2nd, they were saying we're proud and we're surprised to announce that we're going to announce that Ice Nine Kills will have their first blank, and everyone was guessing. And I saw some of the guesses that were in there. It was like, oh, new album. It's like, well, this is their first. That wouldn't be their first new album. Their first different song, a different genre. Their first something else. My guess and a lot of people's guesses is Ice Nine Kills announcing their very first horror movie. Now, I'm not talking about, like the music video set they did with stuff like Thank God It's For, what was the 5 they did? They did it with... it was The American Nightmare, Thank God It's Friday, A Grave Mistake, Stabbing in the Dark, and It Is the End. Like that 5 video series where they kind of had a whole entire horror movie story in there within their music videos. I'm like, okay, is Ice Nine Kills and Spencer Charnas, are these guys actually gonna create their very own horror movie and make like a full featured film that's full on horror. I'm like, now this is what I'm hoping for, and I really want to see this because that would be freaking insane. To my dismay, that was not what was announced. What was announced was they got their first ever magazine cover for Rock Sound for their January 2020 edition. And this is the couple things I have to say about that. One is, it's about freaking time. I mean, you guys probably know that I didn't even know Ice Nine Kills existed maybe up until April of 2019 when I found out from Loudwire that whole entire thing with Disney kind of went down on there when they're on the episode 3 tour with Falling in Reverse. And I remember seeing the merch right away, and I'm like, oh, cool, but I never pounced on it, so I had to, like, when I finally wanted it, I had to scour for it, and I actually got some of it, which is cool. But then, like, I didn't really listen to them up until I found they were coming here to Milwaukee, so I started listening to a couple songs of the Silver Scream, featured them a couple times, like, okay, I'm liking this. Then I went to go see their concert, and I was just freaking hooked. So I'm like, you know, why haven't these guys gotten, you know, bigger than they actually are because of how good they are? On top of that, like, why haven't they been featured on, like, a full-on magazine cover yet? Like, I mean, there's a lot of rock magazines that go out there, whether it's online or physical copy now because, you know, changing of the guard kind of thing. But it's something where I'm really, like, kind of still thinking, like, well, what the heck happened to Ice Nine? Like, why hasn't this been a thing yet? This is awesome. So, again, big props to the guys, and they definitely deserve it. The one thing I still am like, you know, I wish it would have been a Ice Nine Kills horror movie. And the reason behind that is because with how big the band is into the horror, the whole entire horror genre, horror feature, everything that deals with horror movies, they're so ingrained into it that I've seen other people, you know, like Corey Taylor, they said he wrote a horror movie. Rob Zombie's written a number of them, and even like Ice Nine Kills with their song, which one was it? Freak Flag off of the Silver Scream album was based off of one of those Rob Zombie horror movies. So it could easily be done, and with how ingrained the guy is in the horror movie culture, with always talking about movies like, you know, Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, the original Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Crow, Merry Xmas, or no, that was a song. It was Silent Night, Deadly Night. That was the one I think he kind of really liked. I think that was what he said in the interview. I think that was the one that Merry Xmas was based off of. But I'm like, this dude could easily write a horror movie, especially with how cool those whole entire music videos turned out. But I kind of want to see him just go further. But then again, I don't want to see damper their music, so kind of up to them at this point. However, I still think it'd be totally cool to see an Ice Nine Kills horror movie and to see some of the guys within like rock and metal be a part of it and kind of be a part of this like a potential slasher film. Like, you know, seeing the rest of the guys from Ice Nine Kills, see guys in there that get, you know, in the movie like Chris Motionless and Justin Morrow. I mean, you guys know Justin Morrow used to play bass in Ice Nine. Now he's the bass for Motionless in White, and kind of wanted to see him like reunite with the guys. You know, just kind of have a good time with it. See like Andy Biersack in there as well. I'm trying to think of a couple others that would be good for like a Ice Nine Kills horror movie. I think Rob Zombie would be a good addition to that as well. Ash Costello of New Year's Day. I mean, you could probably come up with a lot of them. Those are the ones I'm coming up with at the top of my head. But I think that still would be awesome. So maybe that might be the next big Ice Nine Kills project after their 6th full feature release, which will probably, I mean, I'm assuming that one's going to end up coming out like 2021 or 2022, like late 2021 or early 2022. And that one, hopefully they just continue on with the trend because it was like I listened to their first two. It's like it's a lot different than what they are now. So, but it was like, you know, this ain't bad. Then their third album was like, you know, you're starting again the right path. I thought their fourth one with Every Trick in the Book, they really hit their stride. And with the Silver Scream, I mean, they just took it to a whole new level. I'm hoping that trend continues. They just keep going up and up and up. But that is where I'm at with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we also had some new music drop on this week, and it comes from the guys of Five Finger Death Punch. Ivan Moody and the guys, they released their new single Full Circle off their F8 album, and guys, I feel like we got to talk about it because when I first saw that it was out, I saw that Loudwire wrote an article on it. They're like, this is the heaviest they've gone in a long time. I'm like, well, if you're saying it's the heaviest that Five Finger Death Punch has gone in a long time, let's have a listen and we'll see what we come up with. So I listened to it a couple of times because you guys know me. I want to listen to stuff at least a couple of times so I can get my full-fledged ideas down and really what I want to talk about with it. And this is what I came up with for Full Circle by Five Finger Death Punch, their latest single. When they say, trying to be the hardest, as Ludwig put it, there is a very, very rapid metal pace in that introduction, which is really all driven by the guitar work. And I thought, okay, so I can kind of see where they're coming from with that. However, I'm interested to see, where the rest of the song goes, because their other one, Inside Out was actually a pretty good tune in my opinion. So I thought, let's see what happens from here on out. But then as the song went on, and I listened to it a couple times, I'm like, that intro I like, but that's really all I really like about this song. There's not much else I really care for it, so let's deconstruct it. And as we go from the verse to the first chorus, I have to take a look at Ivan Moody's vocals particularly, because they really struggle to evoke the emotion of what the song is really going through and going for. And this is pretty much throughout most of the song as well. Because the song, I looked through and I tried to decipher the meaning, and the meaning I got out of Full Circle is it talks all about people who try and tell us, that people that should be, influencing how we live our lives, saying, you should live your life in this way, you should live your life in this way, and they try and force us into going certain ways, such as politicians saying, oh, you should live life like this, you should live life like that, or religious leaders or social leaders, anybody it may be who really doesn't fully understand your situation, and they really don't realize how insignificant they are, or people don't really realize how insignificant they should be on their lives. And then when that finally happens, they fail, kind of comes full circle, because then it's like, you're there in the public eye, it's like, yeah, it comes full circle, now you should look at how you should really live life from us, kind of thing. And I thought the emotion, what it could have been very, in the vocals, kind of how it seemed like I was trying to go for, could have been done very well if they kind of went with the Jekyll and Hyde song that they came up with. I thought that would have been a great move by the band to kind of okay, we're going to go give that a shot and go with that with a vocal pattern, or not vocal pattern, but kind of how the vocals were done with between the verses and the chorus, because I thought that's where Ivan Moody could really shine on this song, but it just really didn't hit that way. So following that intro, I thought the song really lacks any kind of a quality that you can really latch onto with a certain song. And what I've been looking at with certain songs over the past, couple of years is trying to come up with a couple of good examples. Come up with a couple of songs I've been really heavily into lately to kind of discuss what I mean by, an instance where you're trying to latch onto. And I'm going to start out with my favorite song from 2019, Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse. Because the thing you could latch onto right away was it was this Ronnie Radke's vocals and how that song was constructed. Because you go from that rap rock style to all of a sudden you go to that rock post-hardcore kind of chorus, and then the screams and the breakdown and just how the instrumentation flows. It's the hook right away was just how the rap rock kind of increased, because it starts out really kind of lower, and then you can kind of hear the emotion kind of get picked up. The instrumentation gets harder and harder. It picks up. And then the chorus comes in and hits in a completely different way. It still hits hard, but it hits hard in a post-hardcore way. But then when you get to the breakdown, you hear those screams, and it's just oh my Lord. And then, of course, the last time they do when Ronnie Radke says we're falling apart in the last of the chorus, oh yeah, that's something you can definitely latch onto as a huge quality that's going to bring you back to the song over and over and over again. Another example is, I just brought up the band, we were just talking about them with Ice Nine Kills, It Is the End. And the first thing you can latch onto with that one is just the intro, because you're doing the whole entire, Pennywise the Clown intro. Then you get that whole entire circus. The biggest latching point onto this one was the mixture of the horns in with the metalcore, the horns provided by the band Less Than Jake. But what it did was it created this metalcore circus vibe, which is really what was perfect for Pennywise the Clown. I mean, are you kidding me? Metalcore circus? Who wouldn't want to go to something like that? Well, you're probably going to end up floating down there. But again, I just thought it was something that, that's what you're going to really latch onto. And of course, one of those two other redeeming qualities for that one is, the little horn with the, in between right before the first and the second verse, and you're that, just like the clown horn, when you squeeze the clown nose, I just like that's a redeeming quality, and then just how the chorus is constructed. You get the da 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 da. It's just there's a lot of latching points right onto it as well. Another one where I found the latching point onto was Saints of the Blood by Black Veil Brides. And this is the latching point. This one I think there's less latching points onto than the other two, but there's two right away for me at least. And the two right away are when the intro comes in, because it sounds like a mixture between that 80s glam metal and glam rock style with today's hard rock style. And I'm like, okay, that's something I really do like. So you get that attached into you. And then it's the vocals that start out in the first verse from Andy Biersack, because you can hear the variation in the pitch, in the tone, and what note he hits. He's got a little bit more of a higher octave than on most of his songs on that one, but it just brings you in and it hooks you in right away. And that's what I really thought about, those songs. But when it comes to Full Circle by Five Finger Death Punch, that even as Loudwire said, it like they said it was the hardest they ever went, really, or I think it was one of the hardest they ever went, or hardest they went in a while. And in the intro, it sounds like it, but as it goes on, it really fails to live up to that kind of an expectation. And there's really nothing to latch onto it. I mean, yes, I did say I like the intro with the rapid hard pace that it goes with, but because there's nothing else to really latch onto, it loses its real latch on quality that intro could have. If it would have one other thing that you could really latch onto in this song, then that would definitely increase the viability of that intro. But just because it just doesn't hit the rest of the way, and the hook is supposed to be in the beginning, it just really kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth, because you kind of come in and you just don't want to listen to the rest of it the rest of the way. So overall, this was not their best outing on the song Full Circle. Again, not every band's going to have their best outing every time they come around. But Inside Out, I thought was a superior single thus far. I'm still excited to see what Five Finger Death Punch does with F8, because again, I know there's another band that's going to end up, polarizing a good amount of people, because a lot of people don't necessarily really go for that kind of sound, or it's like, oh, their sound is stale or tiresome, or it doesn't sound like they're really trying. I've heard those kind of criticisms, read those criticisms about the band, but I thought, you know what? Whatever. We'll just have to see what happens. As long as it doesn't end up like Injustice for None, their 7th album, I think they'll be okay. Couple other things I kind of want to go over with you folks this week. One of them is I've been at my full-time job recently, and now we're starting to kind of like pick up on our second quarter stuff. Yes, it just started first quarter, but we got to be a quarter ahead of everybody. And in between the time, like for the last like week or so before that kind of really happened, doesn't a lot of work to. So I was, scouring the internet, scouring music stuff. And one thing I kind of started really stumbling upon was something I haven't seen any other band really do, especially to this kind of a level, or artist, I should say, because it's really only one person doing this. And you see a lot of the reaction videos on YouTube. You see reaction videos of people like, like Hip Hop Head reacts to certain song, or other people react to all these different songs and they give their opinion on it after they listen to them for the first time. And I remember the React channel started doing this, where it was they had like teens react to Linkin Park. Then it was Linkin Park reacts to teens from Linkin Park, which I thought was pretty cool. I love that idea, because you had Mike Shinoda reacting to people, reacting to teenagers reacting to his music. Then you had kids react to Motley Crue, and they brought in Tommy Lee to react to the kids reacting to Motley Crue. And I remember Tommy Lee absolutely loved one of the kids, because it was the kid he did the kids react videos, and he absolutely loved like Avenged Sevenfold every step of the way. And then they did Motley Crue. The kid was loving Motley Crue as well. And I remember Tommy Lee was like, dude, I like this guy. I think Blink-182 did one. I think it was Mark Hoppus and Travis Scott, or Travis Barker. I almost said Travis Scott. Yeah, Travis Barker did it, where Blink-182 reacts to like kids or like adults reacting to Blink-182. So I thought that was I like that. I wish more people do that, or do it more extensively, or really create something around it. And there's someone that I really noticed over the past like couple of weeks that really is doing that. And that's Ronnie Radke of Falling in Reverse. If you go online, there was one day, I think he made a whole entire hour stream where he just reacted to people reacting to Popular Monster and just watching them go nuts, because I didn't see really one react video so far where Popular Monster got a negative review. There was a lot of people that really, really liked it. And I thought that was like, that's actually pretty badass. I actually really enjoy that. Because why not? Who cares? Who cares? That's great stuff. On top of that, I thought, you know what? This is good stuff. This is insane. But then I saw a video, I believe it was earlier the previous week, I should say, that really caught me off guard when it came to these react videos. And yeah, Ronnie Radke was again reacting as well, but this time it was different. There was a whole video with him reacting to his videos with his daughter Willow. I'm like, oh my god, this is great, because then you get to see much of a perspective from Ronnie Radke, especially because from what we've seen in videos, like Ronnie Radke is any like positive quality that he has. There's many but all those positive qualities, they're enhanced when Willow's around. And I mean, you take a look at any of the videos, it's enhanced when you see him with Willow. It's insane. It's insane how much of the love between a father-daughter relationship there is between Ronnie Radke and Willow. But I was completely stoked to watch the video of Ronnie Radke and Willow reacting to Falling in Reverse videos, because it was mostly, here's Ronnie like, oh, what video you want to watch? And she was just like naming videos like, oh, can we watch, I think they did Popular Monster. They might have done Losing My Life. I don't think they did Drugs. They did Drugging Me As You. I'm Not a Vampire. I remember he's like, you want to do Bad Girls Club? And there's, well, no, I don't want to do Bad Girls Club. It's like, well, that was your favorite. She's like, that was my favorite. It's not now. And just kind of the fun little like banter they had in between with each other, I thought was fantastic. But where I'm kind of going with this is, I initially first saw when Ronnie launched his Twitch platform to basically, live stream him gaming and actually game with people, which I've seen some other people do that as well, specifically athletes. And if it's any athlete that's doing it the best, it has been Juju Smith-Schuster with him playing Fortnite like crazy. But now it's like, okay, you're bringing in Ronnie Radke to do this, and there are a lot of people that are going in on this, and now he's using that to do like these react videos at the same time as he is, streaming gaming. I just think that's absolutely awesome, because it gives much more of a connection between artist and fan, or artist and critic, or artist and both fan and critic like myself, that you can easily see. I just think it's a fantastic move. And just react and like giving your honest reaction to people, like it, dislike it. I mean, I kind of interested to see if there's someone if at a time where he does a react video, and like kind of like what he did with Popular Monster with another song, and if he finds a react video where people really don't like it. I'm very curious to see how that would turn out as well. But then again, that could open up so many more doors for Falling in Reverse and rock music going forward, because again, hacking the culture, and this is what I was hoping for from somebody. And of course, leave it up to Ronnie Radke to do it, because there's so many people on Twitch right now in those streaming platforms. I think, or whatever the other one Microsoft is doing that Ninja just moved to. I think it was like a couple months ago or something like that. But to have that, to be hacking the culture, to be, actually engaging with fans by gaming with them, or by, reacting to their reaction videos, and just seeing the connection between the two. I mean, you're definitely doing something that not really anybody else is doing. You're innovating. And that's going to be huge, because, okay, it's like, who's the first to do it? Ronnie Radke. Well, I mean, not, game-wise, but maybe doing the full-on reaction to people's reaction videos, and doing it not within, like, some company like the React channel, but doing it by yourself and doing it on a consistent basis. Oh my God, is that smart? You're literally going where the attention of kids, I'm not saying like super young kids, I'm talking about like teenagers. You're going to where those teenagers' attentions is. So all of a sudden, the next crop of fans that end up coming up in the music, they're going to end up starting to listen to stuff like Falling in Reverse, which could easily, and I mean easily, end up going to other bands like Escape the Fate, like Hollywood Undead, like, I'm trying to think of some other ones that they could really go to, like Bless the Fall. I mean, you could go to so many different places throughout that whole entire arc, and then just start expanding on it from further. So I absolutely have to applaud Ronnie Radke for the move like that, and especially when I watched and I saw the one with Willow, I'm like, this guy is definitely on the right path that I think a good amount of people should be on, but I don't think anyone's gonna really do it. But my God, is that such a smart move? Last thing I would like to discuss with you, ladies and gentlemen, before I sign off for the week is, alrighty, guys. It was the 2019 year-end awards. Now, they're over with. All the comments have been flooded in. I'm kind of sick and tired of reading them because of how many there were, and kind of, well, I shouldn't say sick and tired of reading of them because I love reading them. It was just with everything with the year end and with me not getting really any sleep. I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of like trying to like slog through them when I know I want to read them, but I want to read them. I want to put my best opinion out there. So that's kind of the best way to put it. I'm not sick and tired of them. I'm just sick and tired of the situation that was going on with, trying to get all this stuff ready. Again, this is just me burning the candle at like 5 different ends and just kind of feeling burnt out. But one thing I saw with the 2019 year-end awards was I got many more negative comments than I did positive ones, which is totally okay because, again, no one's going to agree with me completely 100%. There are people that agreed with me that Popular Monster was the best song of 2019. People agree with me that Nihilist Blues was the worst song of 2019. There are people that agree with me that AJR had the worst album of 2019, but there were people that vehemently disagreed with me, and that's what we'll end up focusing on. I had a couple of people that agreed with me that Walk the Sky by Alter Bridge was the best album of the year. I had a couple people that disagreed with me and voiced their opinion. But so again, there's probably a lot of people who disagree with me more than agree with me, but the ones that voiced their opinions, that's kind of where I was going with this. And the negative comments were primarily focused in on worst album of the year from AJR. And you can go look at our Instagram page, specifically Instagram, because that's where a lot of these live. And if you watch our YouTube video tomorrow, I do a whole react to them as well, but this is going to be a quicker one, just kind of like a more full holistic look at it. But I had many negative ones saying, your opinion's trash, that you say calling it the worst is offensive kind of thing. I'm like, okay. I could have taken this in 2 different ways. I actually take this in like 3 different ways. I could have completely ignored them, which I would not do. Whoa. I just knocked my headphones off my head. Whoopsies. Now, don't I look silly? So, first off, I could have completely ignored them, which is something I will not do. Because you took the time to comment on my stuff, I'll take the time to comment on your stuff and comment and get a conversation going with you. The second is I could have commented again, but I could have returned fire. Now, by that I mean, someone come up and call my opinion trash, I could have said, well, maybe your opinion's freaking trash. No. Don't want to do that in the slightest. But I could have gone the third way. And it's the third way I did go, where it was, people came out after me and said, your opinion's trash, this is hurtful. I'm like, okay. So I take it your opinion on the album was you really like Neo Theater by AJR, yes? And they said, oh, yes, absolutely. That's when I asked the question, why? And the reason was because I didn't want to just like say, give me your opinion so I can tear it apart. I'm like, give me your the whole entire thing is give me your opinion on this music so that I can fully understand where your opinion is coming from, where your mindset is coming from, what you're thinking, where you're going with this. And I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. And there's so many times I did that, and almost 100% of the time, people would just say, okay, this is why I like the album. I had one person say, let me explain why it's the best album in the comments. And then they sent me a DM and said, hey man, I'm sorry. It wasn't going to fit all in the comments, everything I want to say. So I'm just going to DM to you directly. And I literally just said, perfect, go for it. And I'm not sure if it's somewhere, I think that was true because he sent a lot, but I mean, he still could have put it in the comments as well. And he put a whole entire synopsis of why he really liked AJR's Neo Theater. To give you a quick summary, it was he really liked the Easter eggs within it. He liked how but the primary thing was how he connected to the music, because what they were talking about was stuff that he was going through in life, and he really resonated well with the album. So he had this large emotional attachment to it. And where in the video, like I talk about the meaning of some of the songs and how I kind of thought they were very disingenuous. However, when I looked and I said, when I saw this kid say, this is how I perceived it, and this is like how I really connected with it because of the stuff that I was going through. Now, that really struck a chord with me, because this was like the first one that really kind of said something fully like that in the way that he did. And he kind of explained it further too. And I looked and I said, you know what? This kid has a point. And the point is that when it comes to music, we all are going to experience it differently, which, of course, I mean, that's pretty much the whole point I've been kind of driving, because let's figure out how we go. But it hit a little bit different because he actually fully explained how it hit him and how it related to his life. And I told him it was, again, I understand that. And I totally love the fact that happens for you, because I remember back when there are certain bands where, I'd be listening to them and they really struck well with me, especially based on what was going on in my life at the time. it was their message really hit me hard on a deeply emotional level for that matter. Stuff like Disturbed, stuff like Rise Against, stuff like 30 Seconds to Mars. I mean, yeah, if you take a look at my top bands list, like 30 Seconds to Mars is kind of a little bit of a wacky outlier there. But it's just what their music has done for me, especially at times when I really needed it. Yeah, so I totally understand it. And I absolutely love the fact that, if you really kind of resonate with the album, I told the kid, if please don't let my opinion change yours on the album. If you want to keep listening to it, by God, keep listening to it and get the most out of it that you possibly can. We went back and forth a little bit more, just kind of talking about the music. But the thing that was, I absolutely love having a conversation like this. It's so much better than having one where it's like, you're just kind of, instead of just, giving your opinion and having people try and change your opinion, just trying to understand where you're coming from and kind of let that happen. I'm like, I've got my best friend. Him and I are on different political spectrums. And whenever we have discussions like that, it's always that kind of way where it's, present your argument, present where you're coming from so that not to try and change the other person's viewpoint. It's to try and get the person to understand your viewpoint and then let them decide what their viewpoint is, because that's where it's going to be much more genuine. I had a couple others like that as well. Didn't really hit that well on the chord. And someone actually commented and noticed it, like, actually take the time to like discuss it with these people and not just kind of like rip them apart. It's like you actually take the time to discuss the music with these people. I'm like, well, thank you to the max, because that's what I've been trying to go for the whole entire time. Now, there are a couple things I might have been able to do differently with this whole entire release as well. And I thought about them. I had someone message me something about, or put in the comments, I believe, something along the lines of, you could have gone about this better by not calling it the worst album of the year. I'm like, well, then do you have any suggestions? Again, I'm open to suggestions. Why not? Because you might think of something that I might not be thinking of, or I might have thought about it, I might have passed up, but you presented it in a different light, and I think it might actually be a good idea, so I might go with it. You never know. I never got anything like that. But then I thought about, like, would I change anything in comparison to last year to this year, or from this year into next year? When I do the year-end awards, I thought about it, and my answer is going to be, I'm probably not going to really change how I go about it. And the reason is simple. The reason is because with the 6 I pick, there are 3 positives and 3 negatives. The 3 positives are most surprising album of the year, best song, or most surprising album, and best song. The 3 bad ones or negative ones are most disappointing album, worst song, worst album. And the whole purpose of that is there's a couple of purposes. It's also, for me to wrap up the year, kind of give you guys some interesting videos and some interesting topics to talk about. But it's also to talk with you guys about those topics. So when it came to stuff like AJR and Neo Theater, I hate it, but I got to see where a lot of other people are coming from. And I got to see how those people connected with other people within the comment thread and really kind of have that, maybe even gain a couple of friends, even. Who knows? Just all based upon the music that they like and, trying to defend it. I totally understand it. I absolutely love that that was a move. And had I not done that, never would have happened. But I think the biggest key is kind of how we take it. And when I'm commenting on this stuff, again, like I said, even if people come out after me, I'm trying to turn it into a discussion instead of an argument, because trust me, if people say negative things about me, or people say negative things about, what's going on, like, oh, they don't like my stuff. If this was me, like 6-7 years ago, I probably would not have done very well with it. And the reason being is because I take a look back at kind of when I grew, growing up, was being like a huge Minnesota Vikings fan. And the reason why I take that into a different consideration is because I grew up here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the midst of Packerland, okay? As a Vikings fan, I was the only Vikings fan in my family, at school, anything. So I was always like kind of, a little bit like public enemy number one when football season started, because everyone was kind of looking at me because I was the lone target, very easy target. Back in 2009, I started high school, and that was the first year Brett Favre was on the Vikings. So as a freshman in high school, I was social pariah number one. Wasn't the funnest, guys, let me tell you. Was not the funnest. However, as time went on, I kept doing that when I went to college. I went to school in Minnesota, but all my friends basically on my dorm floor my freshman year were Packer fans. So I felt more like home kind of thing, so I was used to it. But as time went on, it was like I used to take all that stuff to heart really badly. Now, I really learned, I've learned, it's like I'd much rather, if I disagree with you on like what your favorite team is and you're trying to get at me, I've got 2 ways I can go about it, and I will always try and go the way of, it's just a game. It's something like, I can't control the outcome of the game, but I'm not going to let the outcome of the game control me, kind of thing. And there's a lot of people that do let the outcome of the game control them. Me, I don't do that anymore. So, like, this week, or like this weekend, the Vikings played the Saints. I'm recording this episode before the game starts, so whatever happens, happens. That's just the way I'm going to take it. I'm watching that brother, too, is a huge Saints fan, so we'll see how that goes. But I've watched plenty of games beforehand, and enemy territory, and I always end up having fun with the opposing fans, even though I am the opposing fan at the bar, like the one opposing fan. Always end up having a really good time with it. I usually get free drinks out of it, too, which is really cool. But there are other times where if people are really going over the edge, I will try and make it I'll try and, be as nice as possible, kind of take it calmly. But if you step over the edge, I will go so far above and beyond that you can't come back. And the thing is just like, if you're just not going to stop, if you're not going to stop, I'm going to end it, kind of thing. When it comes to the music stuff though, I have much more, I'd say even have much more tolerance of it because again, it's online. So, it's people are hiding behind screens kind of thing. And I take a look at it's like, as long as you give me your honest opinion and you're going to engage with me in a conversation, I'm more than okay to. Why not? Or, if you're kind of just coming after me and I'm trying to engage a conversation, you just keep not stopping coming after me, I'm just going to stop kind of thing. Well, not stop this. I'm just going to stop talking to them. But it's something where it's like, I'm not saying I'll let it get to my heart, like really, get me deep into the heart kind of thing. And say all of a sudden, like with, I use AJR as an example. Say all of a sudden they popped on and said, we disagree with you. I would love to I would say, guys, even though we disagree and you guys are the ones that made the music, I would absolutely be down to have a conversation with you guys regarding the music. And then we can talk about it and discuss it to where you can kind of get a different opinion on it you can kind of get my opinion on it to where we're just discussing it and we're discussing music. Or if it was something like Ali Sykes from Bring Me the Horizon said something to me about, me not liking Nihilist Blues. Yeah, would love to talk about it because I ended up saying, I didn't think you should go on the way of Nihilist Blues with the way you did with the EDM inspired stuff. I thought Ludens was the way you should have gone and done it. So again, we would talk about stuff like that. And then with the most disappointing album of the year with Papa Roach, what if Jacoby Shaddix said, hey man, what the hell? I'd have been like, hey man, I'd absolutely love to talk to you about it, though, and just kind of share opinions on it because, again, you're the guy that wrote it, so I want to see kind of what the thought process was for writing an album like this or writing music like this and see where it kind of all went from there and just figure out, why you made certain moves that you did. And then it could even be something where it's like, I'm not going to go full on and be like, oh, that's your bad thing. I wouldn't do that. I would just try and further understand, what they did with the music. Why not? It drives engagement. It drives conversation. And that's really what I want. Driving engagement, driving conversation. And that is huge for me. So on that note, guys, that's going to be it for episode 50 of the Chord Progression Podcast. I actually really want to thank you guys for this episode because the podcast is starting to grow pretty well. In my opinion, I'm like, yeah, again, I'm still not the biggest podcast out there. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not lead singer syndrome. I'm just not yet. But I'm trying there. I'm trying to get there. You just got to keep hustling. Just got to keep working hard at it. That's pretty much it. Hustle, patience, and practice. That's pretty much it. We got to do, what is it? It was short. It was micro speed, macro patience. To the point where I got to move so fast in the micro, but I got to be patient because it's going to take a long time to build. And that's where we're at right now. And hopefully by the time podcast episode number 100 hits at the end of 2020, hopefully we're in a insanely awesome place to where we can look back at the next 50 and be like, okay, what did we do with the next 50? Or we can look back at the whole 100 and see how we grew from number 1 to number 100. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you for watching the My Song Day Rock 2000 Day Chord Progression Podcast, episode number 50. Guys, love you guys. Love having you listen to this stuff and absolutely love talking with every single one of you. So, as we go with that, remember, this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast by My Song Day Rock 2000 Day. And you guys know how I end all my videos with a big, giant, and podcasts too, with a big, giant, see y'all.